And as you begin to deepen that breath, see if you can take the breath all the way down into the deepest part of the belly. Not letting it hang out in the chest, but just taking it all the way down. And exhale, bring all that air back out. And just continue with that deep breath in and out. And as you're deepening the breath, keep that jaw soft, the shoulders relaxed, and try to keep from gripping the hands and the feet. Now create a little core, drawing the navel up and back towards the spine. As you engage this area, again, check in, soften the shoulders, relax the jaw, and come back to a deepened breath. This little bit of engagement in place. One more deep breath, and the hands come into a prayer. The palms pressing each other, thumbs finding the chest. Take a deep breath in and begin to set your intention, finding a word or a phrase that calls to you, that's needed. Once you have set your intention, just repeat it back to yourself. Seal it in your heart space so it can be here through your practice. Do not feel rushed, but when you're ready, release the hands and open the eyes back to the room. If you're sitting up, just gently come down into a laying position. Make sure you have room. So if you have props around you, just give yourself a little space. So you can walk the feet wide as the knees are bent and the arms are out at T, just creating windshield wipe setup. Spread the hands, but soften them so they're not gripping. Relax the shoulders. Engage the core. You might even feel a slight tilt through the pelvic. Start to spread and lift the toes, and then fan those toes back down. Deep breath in and exhale, lower knees to the right. Look over towards that left arm or that left hand. Then inhale, draw your knees back to center, head back to center, realign, re-engage. Then exhale, knees to the left, gaze over to the right. And just begin to flow through these movements of windshield wipes. On your inhale, you always come back up to center, realigning, re-engaging. And then exhaling to the opposite direction. Good. Flow through these movements with the breath, connecting and checking in. One more movement side to side. And the next time your knees come to the right, come into a place of stillness. Checking in, find your alignment, find your engagement, that effort and that ease, and breathe deep. One more deep breath. Draw the knees back up to center, the head back to center. Come over to the left, come into a place of stillness. Adjust, realign. Find your effort, find your ease. Breathe deep. One more deep breath. Draw the knees up to center, head back to center. And you're going to walk the feet in closer. Then draw the knees in, wrap the arms around, give yourself a little hug. You can lift the head up for that stretch, but then release the head down. And just a little rock side to side. Not so much that you fall out of the pose, but just enough to feel the muscles coming on and off of the mat. Good, then slow the movement coming to centered stillness. Keep the knees where they are, but draw the arms back out at T. Engage the feet a little bit as though you're pressing against the wall. A little bit of core engagement so that low back is being drawn towards the mat. Then just start to go in circles with the knees around the hips, trying to keep those thighs slightly engaged for a little extra effort. The feet slightly engaged too. If you lose the core, come back to it. And breathe deep. So the movement is slow, not rapid and fast. Try not to grip the hands into the floor, into the ground. The next time the knees come back to center towards the chest, slow the movement, adjust, realign if you need to, and then begin to go in the opposite direction. Keep engaging the core, a little bit of feet, a little bit of thigh engagement. And as you're breathing deep and moving through this side, notice how different it might feel. Good. One more circle. And when the knees come back in towards the chest, slow the movement, come to stillness. Wrap the arms back around those legs. You can give yourself a little lift through the head if that feels good, but then release the head. Good. Relax the shoulders. Start to draw the feet down onto the mat. Draw the arms back out at T, but palms to face up this time. And now allow the feet to come closer, so then the soles of the feet can come together as the knees come out to the side, so you're in butterfly. Engage the core, tilt the pelvic for a little engagement and to draw that low back down towards the mat. A little tucking of the chin and relaxing of the shoulders. Now you're open here through arms and legs, so begin to reach the arms up towards the ceiling. Reach those hands up and then draw the thighs together, feet on the mat, grounding down. So you're closed off now. Then inhale, open back up, arms and knees as the feet come back together. Inhale, reach the arms up, draw the thighs together, feel the body connecting. And then exhale, feel the body opening. Good. Do this a few times. With your breath, inhale, coming together, reaching up through the hands, feet grounding down onto the mat. Then opening up as arms come out to T and feet come together. Knees come out to the side. Breathe deep. The next time the hands reach up, the thighs come together. Pause here. Feel the feet grounding down into the ground, into the mat. Feel the shoulders coming off of the mat as the hands are reaching out. But tuck the chin in a little bit so you're not straining the neck. Use your core if you lost it. Breathe deep. One more breath, and then you'll draw the arms back out at T. Keep them in a hover if you want a little extra effort. And then come into butterfly with the legs. As the feet come together, the knees wide. Use your core, engage the thighs, tuck the chin, breathe deep. One more deep breath here. You'll draw the knees together, draw them in towards the chest, wrap the arms back around those legs, a little rock side to side if you need it. You can always lift the head up too if you need that little stretch through the neck. Good. Then whenever you're ready, you'll wrap one ankle over the other to rock yourself up or roll to one side to gently lift on up. Then from here, if you're having sensitive knees, use a blanket or create a little extra padding with your mat. Come to hands and knees, tabletop position. And you just want to set up so it's wrist under shoulders and knees joined underneath of hips. Create a nice flat back by engaging the core. Spread the hands to ground up and into the shoulders to broaden them. Feel the tops of the feet grounding down into the mat. You're going to do a little cat and cow. So when you're ready, deep breath in, exhale, tuck the chin, push the hands away from the mat. Then inhale, using your core, start to draw those shoulders back together. Exhale, tuck the chin, round the spine. Do this a few times, just breathing deep, drawing shoulders together, and then drawing the shoulders wide and away from each other. Try to keep the core engaged so you're not moving through the midline, but just moving through the shoulders. And don't attach if you hear cracking. You're just releasing and creating more oxygen into the areas that you draw a lot of tension. You hold a lot of gut. Good, one more time. And whenever you round the spine this next time, draw the toes together, the knees wide towards the long edges. Then slowly start to draw the hips towards the heels as the head comes down towards the mat. Soften the shoulders, relax the wrist if you can. Maybe even roll out the head, the neck. Good, breathe deep, come back up to your hands and knees. Draw your knees back underneath of your hips, wrist back underneath the shoulders. Engage your core here. Curl the toes on the mat. As you curl those toes, hover the knees. Use your core, then push into your downward dog. As you come into down dog, the legs might kind of feel it here, so just kind of pedal them out to give them a little movement, a little stretch. Good, then draw the knees back down onto the mat, toes together, knees wide. Tuck the chin, round the spine, go back into that wide leg child's pose. Soften and release when you get here. Inhale, come back up to hands and knees, knees back underneath the hips, wrists back underneath the shoulders. Curl the toes, engage the core, hover the knees, feel that core working, and push into your downward dog. Pedal out those heels if you need another little round of movement. Release any tension you might be holding on to. And then one last wide leg child's pose, drawing the knees back down, toes together as the knees come wide. Tuck the chin, round the spine, come back into that wide leg child's pose. Good, and no matter where you are, it's okay if you don't come down to the mat, but just relax the best you can. Settle in, breathe deep. One more breath. Come back up to hands and knees. Knees back underneath the hips, wrist underneath the shoulders. Get ready for down dog, so curl those toes, hover the knees, use your core, then lift back into that downward dog. Good, pedal out those heels, last little movement here through those legs. Now gaze forward at the hands, and you can either hop or walk the feet to meet the hands, coming into the forward fold at the front of the mat. Make sure that your feet are in line with each other and underneath of the hips. Little bend in the knees, okay. Soften out the shoulders, a little yes and no, just to release tension in the neck. Begin to come up to a flat back by either coming onto fingertips, hands on shins, or hands on thighs. Draw the shoulders together, lengthen the spine, gazing down. Then gently release into the legs. Soften the shoulders and the neck again if you need to. Then start to bend your knees, sink the hips down and back. Chest starts to peel up as the arms frame. Use your core. It's a very arching position. Then come on up as hands come around and into prayer. Then lengthen back up through those arms. Exhale, fold back into your legs. Good, soften and release. Now walk the feet wide. So they might start to come to the long edges, and I'll just show from this direction. Heels stay in, toes point out to 10 and 2. The hands come down to the mat the best they can, bending those knees, and start to sink the hips down and back. So you can start to come into a little bit of a squat. Hands can stay here if you're comfortable. You can even use the arms to open up those thighs and those hips a little bit more. And hands can come into prayer if you want to go a little deeper. Keep using the core. Good. Hands down. Slowly lift the hips back up. Good. Walk those feet back underneath. Then we're going to do that variation of sun salutation. So come up to that flat back, showing shoulders together, gazing down. Gently release back into the leg. Then come into chair, sinking hips down and back, chest peeling up, arms to frame. Use your core. Then come on up to stand as hands come into prayer. From prayer, draw those arms back up and overhead, and then fold back into your legs. Walk the feet wide once you're in your forward fold. Heels in, toes out. Bend those knees, hands on the mat. Start to sink the hips down and back. Coming into that squat, you can use the arms to open up the thighs or draw the hands together. Breathe. Good, hands on the mat. Slowly lift the hips back up. Heel toe, walk those feet back underneath of the hips. Good. Come up to your flat back. Use your core. Exhale, release. Come back into chair, bending those knees, sinking the hips, chest peeling up, arms to frame. Use your core. Then come on up to stand. Hands come into prayer. Good. One last movement. Reach those arms up and overhead. Fold back into your legs. Good. And I'll just show you from the side. It's a little easier. Walk the feet wide, heels in, toes out. Bend those knees so the hands come down. Slowly begin to release down into your squat. Arms can open up those hips, either being on the mat or in prayer. Good. Breathe. See if you can kind of push to the outer edge of the feet, the pinky and the heel. Good. 2 more breaths. You got it. And hands to the mat. Lift the hips back up. Good. Heel toe, heel toe. Give those legs a little march, a little movement. Sometimes it feels good just to kind of bend those knees a few times after squatting. Good. Now take a quarter turn to the long edge of the mat, just like I am right now. And you're going to walk the feet wide. If you need blocks and you have them, feel free to utilize them, but you do not have to. If you need them, you'll just set them up kind of side to side like this. And just keep them there to show. So stay in the fold for now, and make sure that your feet are parallel with each other and parallel with the mat. Sometimes it feels a little weird, but it's really good. It's good alignment. Start to walk the hands over to the right. As you do, the heel stays in, the toes start to spin towards the short edge of the mat. Then bend the knee, let the hand come in towards that leg, towards that foot. And you can even, just like in that squat, that yoga squat, you can use the arm to push into that leg to open that thigh. Now for a little extra effort, draw that left hand onto the hip. Good, so you kind of start to twist just a little bit. Then draw the hand down, slowly walk it back to center as the foot comes back to center. So they're both parallel once again. Soften and release. It's your choice. If you want to come up to a flat back here, you can. If you want to come into a reverse just by walking the hands behind so you round the spine, do so. Sometimes we feel the stretch differently in our legs or in our back. But when you're ready, just come back to center. Then walk it over to the left foot, heel in, toe points to the left. As the toes are towards that short edge, bend the knee. As you bend the knee, use that hand to maybe push into that thigh. Keep pushing into that back foot. Right hand onto hip. You start to twist just a little bit. So not only are we working through knees and hips, we're also working through that low back. Good. Hand comes down. Walk it back to center. Feet come back to center. Again, flat back or round. Whatever feels good, whatever you need. Good. Walk it over to the right. Heel in, toe towards that right side. Walk that hand over to the right foot or the block. Open the hip if you need with that arm. Left hand on the hip. Maybe you take it a little bit further. Reach that left arm up. Draw the shoulder back. Good. Hand on hip, then to the floor. Walk it back to center. Good. Feet parallel once again. And whatever little movement you need before we move to the next side, do so. Then walk it to the left. Toes point towards the left, so the heel stays in. Keep pushing and grounding into that opposite foot. Use that hand to open up the hip. Right arm on the right hip. Then take a little further for a little extra effort. Reach up, pull that shoulder back. Good. Hand on hip, to the floor, walk it back to center. Feet parallel once again. Any little movement you might need. Good, we're gonna do this 2 more times on both sides. So go at your own pace. You know what to do. Breathe, check in, keep pushing into that opposite foot. And never feel rushed. So if you want to stay a little bit longer, listen to your body. And always realign, always check in when you move from one side to the next. Good. Now the next time you come to the right foot, you're going to come into a place of stillness. Try to be here for about 3 to 5 deep breaths. You want to be longer. Listen to your body and stay there. But just check in, keep pushing into that outer edge of the opposite foot. That front knee is bent. The hand is helping, or the arm is helping to open up the hip as the arm of the opposite is reaching up and lengthening. And when you come back to center, just realign, feet parallel. Give yourself any little movement you need before we come to the next side. And come over to the left whenever you're ready. Do not feel rushed at any time. And again, allow yourself to settle in, realign. Pushing into that opposite leg. That one knee is bent. One arm is lengthened, drawing the shoulder back, using that core. Good. When you're ready to come back to center, come back to center. Give yourself any last little movement you might need here. Now keep the heels in, point the toes out to 10 and 2. Bend your knees, hands on hips, come on up. Good. So now notice if you need to shorten the stance or make it a little bit wider, get comfortable. And then here's going to be the big test on where your legs or feet need to be. So I'll show you with the one leg. Just begin to hands on hips. You're going to bend the knees. If you notice your knee is tracking over that ankle, give yourself a little more distance to the feet. Okay, then lift and lengthen. If the knee is not tracking over, you're in a perfect position. So hands on hips, just begin to gently bend a few times. Bending knees, then lengthening. Good. To open up the hips a little deeper, push into the outer edges of the feet. Slowly draw the body forward a little bit because you'll feel that you can open up a little bit deeper. Good. Come back up. Good. All right, now we're going to add in goddess arms. So the next time you bend, come into goddess, which is goalpost or cactus. Then hands can come down onto hips or just lengthen. Good. So whatever is easiest, just begin to flow through these movements. All right, now we're going to take it into a little different of a movement. Left hand stays on the left hip. Bend, come into goddess, then slowly start to rotate, drawing that forearm onto the leg. Reach the left arm up. Good. Draw the hand back onto the hip, come back up. Right hand on hip, left arm out, goddess, bend, slowly come down, forearm, and reach up with the left arm. Good, hand on hip, come on up. And just switch, going side to side. Opposite arm into goddess, bending, drawing that forearm onto that thigh, reach up with that opposite arm. That arm comes to the hip as you come back up, and then just switch arms. Breathe deep and check in. Good. All right. Now this next time, the right arm comes onto the leg. Come into stillness, and then see if you can lengthen the left leg as you reach that left arm up. Good. Then bend the knee, hand on hip, come back up. Good. Now we're going to add that in going side to side. So bend, left arm comes onto the thigh, lengthen the right leg, reach up with the right arm. Good. Hand on hip, bend the knee, come back up. Good. A few more times. Bend, arm comes out, comes onto the thigh, reach up with the opposite arm as you lengthen that leg. Good. Release, come on up.
Good, give those legs a little movement if you need them at any time. They're probably burning. One more time on both sides. And we'll come into stillness. Good. So it's your choice here where you want to be. When we come side to side, you can have that leg lengthen as the knee is bent, or you can have both knees bent. So it's just really where you want to work through your hips. So get yourself set up, get ready. All right. Left hand onto left hip, right arm comes into goddess. Bend those knees, forearm onto thigh. Reach up with that opposite arm. You can lengthen or keep the knee bent. It's your choice. 3 deep breaths here. Keep using your core, drawing it in. And come back to center when you're done. Good, give those legs a little release. Next side, same movement. So when you're ready, bend those knees, left arm in goddess, come onto the thigh. Reach up with that right arm and you can lengthen that right leg or keep it bent. But use your core, draw it in. 3 deep breaths. Good, and when you're done, hands on hips, come on up, walk it out, and slowly bring those legs back together. Give those legs a little movement, they're gonna feel it. Good. Now come back to the short edge of your mat. Reach the arms up and overhead, and exhale, fold back into your legs. Good, notice how you feel through those legs. Now bend your knees as much as you need so the hands come to the mat. Begin to walk the feet back one at a time into downward dog. As you come into downward dog, pedal out those heels. All right, find your balance here. Shoulders come away from the ears. Feel the heels grounding down with the tailbone lifted and lengthening. Use your core, draw it in. Start to shift your weight over to the left side, draw the right foot up and behind you. Good. Now take that foot and just kind of cross so that the foot comes over to the left side. The legs are going to gently cross a little bit here. Now walk the hands in towards the feet as much as you can. It's okay if you don't come too far. You can always bend the knees a little bit. But wherever you come, lengthen the legs a little to get that stretch. It's going to feel good after everything we did through those legs and through the hips. Good. Then gently, slowly walk it back. Then lift that right leg, draw it back to the floor, to the mat, into regular downward dog. Good. Settle back in, release and relax. Shift the weight over to your right side. Lift the left leg up. Feel that stretch. Then draw the foot over to cross the leg. The foot should come to the floor. Then walk it back to where you feel comfortable. Lengthen the legs just a little bit to get that stretch. You might be on fingertips, you might be on flat hands, but just release, breathe. Good, walk it back. Then lift that left leg up, draw it down to meet the right. Good, quick child's pose. Draw the knees down. It's your choice if you want those knees wide or together. Sink the hips slowly down and back. Soften arms, roll out wrists. Breathe deep. Good, reach the arms, lengthen. Come back up to your tabletop, hands and knees position. Curl the toes, use your core. Hover the knees, lift into downward dog. From down dog, settle in, shoulders away. Create good distance from hands and feet. Shift the weight to the left, draw the right foot up. Keep pushing back. Then cross the leg as that right foot comes to the floor over to the left side. Then walk the hands slowly in towards those legs, coming to where you feel comfortable. Lengthen them a little bit so you're feeling that stretch through the back. Breathe deep. Walk the hands forward one more time. Then uncross the legs so you're back in your downward dog. Good. Shift the weight to the right. Left foot reaches up. Keep pushing back. And cross the leg, letting that foot come over to the right, finding the floor. Then slowly, slowly walk it towards those legs. Lengthen them a little bit so you're feeling that stretch. Breathe deep. Good. Slowly walk the hands back. Then uncross the legs so you're back in your downward dog. And give those legs just a little pedal really quick. Just to soften, to release. Notice what you're feeling in those legs. And then draw the knees down. Wide leg child's pose, or legs, knees together in a normal child's pose. Just give yourself whatever you might need. Soften and breathe deep. We have one more round of the crossing of those legs to release those hamstrings. Good. Come back up to hands and knees. Find your foundation. Knees under hips, wrist under shoulders. Curl the toes. Hover knees, then downward dog. Make sure you're in your position. Settle in, engage. Shift the weight to the left. Draw the right foot back and up. Keep pushing back. Then gently cross the leg. Foot comes to the floor on the left side. Then slowly, slowly, slowly walk it into those legs. See if you can lengthen them a little bit here. Try to be here for 3 to 5 deep breaths. And you know how to slowly come out. So when you need to, listen to your body and slowly come out. And when you come out, when you're in that down dog, if you need a little pedal really quick, allow yourself a little pedal. If you're in child's pose, just get yourself back into down dog so we can do the next side. So shift that weight to the right as the left foot comes up, keep pushing back, and then cross the leg. Slowly, slowly walk it in towards those feet. Lengthen a little bit so you're feeling that stretch. Again, stay here 3 to 5 deep breaths. If it calls you out before then, that's okay. Listen to your body. When you come back into down dog, you can give those legs a little pedal. If you need a quick child's pose, give yourself a quick little child's pose. Sometimes it feels good just to release wrist, to release just the body for a moment. Good. Inhale. Gently come back up to hands and knees. Good. From your hands and knees, begin to gently walk the hands forward a little bit. Bend the elbows, draw them in by the sides. Begin to lower the body down and onto the mat. Good. As you lower down and onto the mat, get yourself set up. Settle in. Make sure you have room on your mat and there's room around you. And begin to look to the right. The hands are by the chest, but then draw the left arm back behind you so it's lengthened. Good. Breathe deep, start to bend that right knee. As you bend the right knee, engage the foot as though you're pressing against the ceiling above you. Then start to engage the thigh, lifting it up and off of the mat as the foot comes up, Then it starts to cross over to the left side, finding the floor. Good, breathe. Slowly draw that knee back in alignment down onto the mat. You can keep the foot up or you can draw it down, it's whatever you need. Lift the foot up, gently crossing, letting that foot come over to the left. See if you can plant that foot flat, just like this right hand. Good, then slowly rotate back. Good, so if you need to make any little adjustments really quick, allow yourself. When you're ready, lift that right foot up, let it cross the body, let it find the floor, opening that hip here, lengthening that left leg. Breathe deep, use your core. And if you're feeling good, you can reach that right arm up and draw the shoulders back. So it's like they're coming together deep here. So not only are you opening the hips and doing a little through that midline, you're also working the shoulders. Keep breathing deep. Two more breaths, you got it. Then the hand will come to the floor, to the mat. Slowly rotate back, lengthen that right leg. Now draw the right arm out at T, switch your gaze over to the left, and then draw that left hand in. Get yourself set up. Sometimes we kind of roll off our mat a little bit, so get yourself where you need to be. Then bend that left knee when you're ready, engaging the thigh. Lift that foot up, let it cross the body so the foot comes over to the right. Good, and slowly rotate, drawing that thigh and that knee back to the floor. Good, you can lengthen the leg or keep the foot or the knee bent, then engage the foot when you bend it this next time. Then lift the foot up, let it cross the body so it comes over to the right side. Again, foot flat, that right leg lengthen. Good, rotate one last time. Good, allow yourself to get ready to settle in. We're coming into stillness. So lift the foot up, let it cross the body, let it begin to find the right side, the floor. Foot grounded down, lengthening that right leg. And if you feel comfortable, that left arm can come up as though it's reaching back, drawing those shoulders together. Soften the jaw and breathe deep. One more deep breath, you got it. Then the hand comes to the floor, to the mat. Slowly rotate back. Lengthen the leg, draw the head to center, forehead or chin. Both hands in. Good. Now we're getting set up for half cobra. So engage the tops of the feet into the mat, into the floor. Feel those hands spreading, but then slowly begin to draw the shoulders together, hovering the hands off of the mat. Using your core, lift your head and chest up along with it, but keep drawing the shoulders back. Then slowly release down. Good, one more time. Hover the hands, draw the shoulders together, lift up through the chest, through the head, draw the thighs together, feel the feet grounding down. Good, slowly release back down. One more time, coming into your half cobra, you're gonna come into stillness. So hover the hands, engage the tops of the feet into the mat, use your core, lift up through the chest and through the head. Don't draw the shoulders up, draw them down and back, and relax the jaw. Breathe deep. You might ebb and flow a little bit, and that's okay. Good, slowly release. Draw your arms out at T, gaze to the right. Slowly bring the head back to center. Then over to the left. Roll the head back to center. Then over to the right. Head back to center. Then head looking over to the left. Good, hands coming back in by the chest, draw the head back to center. Curl the toes or ground the feet down. Use your core, lift up to hands and knees. Good for hands and knees. Begin to sit down and then come on down onto your backs. As you come on down, give yourself room. As you notice, I moved the block out of my way. And we're just gonna do one more round of windshield wipe. So arms come back out at T, knees are bent, feet walk it wide. So maybe they go to the edges, maybe they wanna go a little bit further, a little bit closer. So just allow the feet to be a little bit wider than they normally would. Engage the core, drawing it back towards the mat. Draw the chin in just a little bit to lengthen out the neck. Deep breath in, slowly rotate on your exhale to the right. If you want an extra stretch, that right foot, you can draw it onto that top thigh, which is the left thigh. Breathe deep. On the exhale, you draw the foot down first, then inhale, knees back up to center. Realign, readjust, reengage. The knees will lower over to the left, gaze to the right. That bottom foot, which is the left, will come onto that top thigh, which is the right. Breathe deep. Exhale, the foot comes down first, then inhale, the knees come to center. Always realign, re-engage when you come back to center. And just begin to flow, going side to side. If you want to add in that bottom foot coming onto the top thigh, you can, but you do not have to. Always honor your body. Know what you need and what it's craving and what it's saying, hey, I don't need that. But you always release the foot on the exhale before inhale, lifting the feet back to center. Good. The next time you come to the right, do not feel like you have to rush to get here. Just be here for about 3 to 5 deep breaths. And when you come back to center, stay there for about 2 breaths. And then the other side, 3 to 5. Good. And when you come back to center, 2 breaths. Good. Walk the feet in closer. Draw the arms down by your side. But make sure that there's a little space between the feet so the feet are in line with the hips, but then walk the heels in closer towards your sitting bones. Shrug the shoulders up, but then tuck them underneath so you start to set up for bridge, drawing those shoulders together. Use your core, draw it down, hands ground it down. As you're pressing into the feet and the shoulders, start to slowly lift the hips up and off with the mat. Engage those thighs as though they want to touch, but they're not going to. Exhale, slowly release one vertebrae down at a time. Once the hips come all the way down,
If you need to readjust or realign, do so. And re-engage, pushing into the feet, using your core, start to lift the hips back up and off the mat. Breathe deep as you come into bridge. And then exhale, slowly release one vertebrae back down at a time. And just flow through these movements. You'll gently come down, and you'll gently start to raise back up, engaging those thighs, using the core to lift. And then we'll start adding in arms. So the next time the hips lower, allow yourself to get ready. Use your core. As the hips lift, so are the arms. They're going to lift up and then reach back behind you. Keep pushing through the feet, draw the knees forward, tuck the chin as you're lifting the hips up, and you start to lower back down, draw those arms slowly back down. So it's just like a little dance with the body. When you're ready, add this into your bridge. You'll gently lift those hips up, arms coming up and back. And as you lower, you'll lower those arms along with the hips slowly. Good. Do this 2 more times. Good. And the next time you come down to the mat, just know it's your choice where you want to be in stillness. It's with the arms either down or open overhead. So allow yourself to get into your bridge. If the arms stay by your side, you can always draw the shoulders under a little bit deeper by clasping the hands and drawing those knuckles towards the heels. Keep using your core, keep lifting and lengthening, a little bit of thigh engagement, especially after opening the hips. It's so good to draw them back together. Two more deep breaths and slowly release out. And when you're done, you'll draw the knees back in towards the chest, wrapping the arms around, giving yourself a little rock side to side just to release. Notice how the hips, the low back, the shoulders, all of the body's feeling, even those knees. Good. Now, keeping the knees in, arms back out at T, engage the feet, engage the thighs. Go in a circle around the hips with the knees. Use your core. Notice how different you feel at the end of practice than you did at the beginning. And slow the movement when the knees come in towards the chest. Re-engage the core in the hips, the thighs. Go in the opposite direction. Keep breathing and keep checking in. When the knees come back to center, pause, draw the arms around, lift the head if you want that little stretch, then release. Good. Then lengthen the legs, reach the arms up and overhead. Give yourself a full body stretch here. Feel that stretch, and then exhale, arms come down, toes point up. Good, stretch it out. Reach the arms up, point the toes, feel the body being pulled from one end to the other. And then exhale, arms come down, toes point back up. All right, one last stretch. So give yourself that little stretch you need, kind of maybe a little side to side action. Breathe, and then gently release. Good. So at this time, if there's any last movements your body's craving or anything it needs, feel free to do it. Maybe you want to do some windshield wipes again. Maybe you want to do some butterfly or bridge. Maybe happy baby is there for you since we opened up the hips and it just kind of feels good. Maybe you want half baby, happy baby. So it's just kind of one leg opening, crawling it in, foot down. Kind of the same thing. So it's just what feels good for you. But whenever you're ready for your Shavasana, give yourself time to set up. Do not feel rushed. Get any props you might need, eye pillows, blankets for the body or underneath the head. Maybe something to draw underneath of the knees if they're feeling sensitive or kind of just need a little lift for that low back. And once you settle in, allow the palms to face up by the sides. A little bit away from the body. And the feet a little bit away from the body. Tuck the chin in just a little bit. Then take a deep breath in, squeeze the muscles, tighten, squeeze, clench, but not the jaw. Keep the jaw relaxed. So squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Exhale, let go. Do it again. Inhale, squeeze and tighten, squeeze, 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 tighten, tighten, tighten. And exhale, let it go. One last time. This time, squeeze. Not only are you bringing up that muscle squeezing, but you're going to bring up tension and stress. Bring it up, 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 and let it out and go. Knowing that it doesn't have a place right now. This helps to get you really ready for this final resting pose. So when you're ready, you can close the eyes and just enjoy your Shavasana. This time where you can reflect, decompress, and digest the practice you had. Start to take a deep breath in. Reawaken slowly without opening the eyes quite yet. And when you're ready, start to add a little movement to the body, fingers and toes, your wrists and ankles, the neck and shoulders, the elbows and the knees, just little bit by little bit. And when you're ready to draw the knees in a little bit deeper and roll over onto your favorite side, do so, but don't feel rushed to get here. And use that bottom arm to help cradle the head. And just take a few deep breaths here on your side. Slowly pushing the hand into the floor, into the mat, lift your body back up. Keep the eyes still closed just for a moment. Stay connected. And allow your hands to find the lap and the palms to face up. This is for the gift of receiving. I want you to send some gratitude and compassion to yourself for your practice, for carving out this time. The efforts and the ease that you put in. Now draw your hands into prayer. We call this Anjali Mudra. Hands pressing against thumb creases, finding the chest. Take a deep breath in, a deep breath out. Come back to your intention, that word or phrase you set at the very beginning of practice. And I truly, truly thank you for allowing me to guide you and to take this time for yourself. The light in me sees, bows, and acknowledges that same light burning brightly within you. And in sharing that, it connects us. It shows there's no difference between us in this moment. Namaste.